Yay.
Becca, we made it through episode 1.
I know.
I think it was a lot of fun. And I was just really excited how well it kind of came together, and it was just so much fun. I think me, you, and Chris just had a lot of laughs and smiles.
We did.
And I heard from a few people were kind enough to reach out to me and just say, kind of echo that they're the same thoughts.
Yeah, I did too. I got a lot of really good feedback from you guys, which we appreciate very much, as when you do work out into a void, you like to hear back sometimes. And so I got a lot of positive feedback too. And not only that, but I could tell by the views. I don't know if you could tell by your listens, but everybody was really into it and sharing it with each other and just really having fun, which was the whole point, was to have a little fun. And so that is really amazing to me. And so hence you and I are going to continue on this journey of fun and down the road of special interest and the things that get our people excited and charged up. And we are going to continue today with episode 2. And I am psyched. First of all, you guys, behind the scenes, you don't even know that Doug and I get along about everything. Like our emails are just, yep. Okay, no problem, right back in time. And that's what's happening with our guests too. It's like, hey, what do you think about this person? Yep, definitely. This person, absolutely. So we are here with one of those guests. We are here with Kelly Bron Johnson. She is one of our favorites. I love the work that she does, but I love her sense of humor too. And I think we're going to have a really good time with her. So Kelly is not American. Oh my God. She's from Canada, which means she's nice. So we'll see if we can get her to first and tell the truth a little bit. But yes, Kelly is doing all of her work up in Canada, and she supports Autism Canada. I heard her podcast. You were on their first podcast, right?
Yeah, I've left the board though.
Oh no!
No, it's fine. It's a good thing, but yeah.
She's done lots of good work there, and so she's done that podcast. But I love the stuff that you talk about neurodiversity in the workplace and handling neurodiversity in the workplace, which is her big push. But I will let Doug ask those questions because I'm excited to hear about the other parts of your life, Kelly. So I'm excited. Here we go.
Kelly, I know when me and Becca started this journey, you had reached out and were excited about the infodump files. I was just wondering what was your interest in this?
Just because sometimes you just need somebody that you can dump this stuff on. And for me at least, I switch topics all the time. I'm kind of like as a kid I was called a walking encyclopedia, so it's kind of I'm kind of used to it, and I think it kind of builds connection with other autistic people, to be able to just dump out those get it out of your system, and I don't know, that's why I think it's fun. I think it's interesting and fun.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of times we've talked on podcasts, but I don't know if I ever really learned too much about kind of your special interests and or passions. So what the heck are they?
So I guess, I got a bunch, but I'd say like probably one of the things I like to talk about is travel. So I had a travel blog. It's still up, it's existing, but I don't do anything with it really. But it's called Solo Woman Traveler. And the whole point was to encourage women, especially, to go travel alone. I don't know if it's because of my autism, but I guess I could be more trusting of people to some extent. And I've gone to some what people say are dangerous countries, and without really a care in the world kind of thing. And I don't think it's naivety. I think I know what I'm getting into. Like, I go very well prepared. I think I just have a tendency to do those kind of things that women apparently are not supposed to do. Like I've often had people say, oh, does your husband's okay with that? Like your husband's okay with you going? It's like, what does my husband have to do with it? I bought one ticket, I'm going. So
yeah, like, I mean, it is interesting. I think travel is fascinating, but I am a late comer to travel. I was really nervous about traveling most of my life. So I'm interested in that it didn't give you that didn't create anxiety for you to travel to other places.
Oh,
like
it
that.
did. I was scared.
Oh, okay.
Like shitless. Don't worry. There are times when, yeah. And there's times you find yourself and you're like, you know, if I died right here, no one knows who I am.
Right.
Or where I'm supposed to be from, you know, like things
Right.
like that. So anyway, all sorts of, I've had a lot of interesting things happen, but but I've lived to tell the tale. So
Right. Risk reward. That's what it is. Big
yeah,
risk
I guess.
reward.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I too am somebody who's a traveler of interests. I do. I've always kind of popped around in my special interest, and some of it I think is that I enjoy info seeking. Like I just, if I'm on something, I'm on it, and I need to know everything about it, right? And so I think that's part of it. But I've had some lifelong special interests. Have you had some like some passions that have followed you through life?
I think a lot of them change over time, but you know, like travel, the first time when I caught the bug, how about that? When I caught the travel bug, I was 16. And that's when I went on a trip with my best friend and his father. His father was a pilot. And so we ended up with this almost free trip to Yemen, which is wild, right? Because like, why would you go to Yemen? like there's what, you know? And I remember like his dad had to like convince my dad to let me go in the first place, because my mom was kind of like, oh, you know, whatever, you know, it's like, oh, war-torn country in the middle of a civil war, no problem, right? You know, at the time they were kidnapping Americans. So it was important that I had to say I was Canadian, but they were at the time they were kidnapping Americans and treating them nicely. They just wanted money, so they were feeding them and everything like that. So it wasn't as bad, but yeah, I mean, my you know, he had to convince my dad to even let me go, and my best friend and I didn't really know what we were getting into until we landed, and we're like, oh, this like, we're not in Kansas anymore, you know. So it's very it was a complete culture shock.
Yeah.
But from that, I think from that experience and just seeing the world in a completely different perspective and seeing how other people live, it was a very eye-opening about my own privilege, and the fact that I do believe in that 90% or 95% of people are truly kind at heart and don't want to harm you. And I think that's kind of where it started for me. It's just realizing that there is overwhelming kindness in the world. And so when bad things happen, there is usually somebody that will help you.
Yeah. So, that's a nice thing to feel. Oh, I'm not a very trusting person, so I'm really impressed that you like, I still carry my trauma. So I still struggle with that piece of figuring out that everyone has a kind piece inside them somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are some of the other places you've been to?
Europe. So then it wasn't until like 10 years later that I went by myself for real. And I was shaking in my boots. I got in the plane and I was like, why am I doing this? Why? Maybe I should turn around and get off and just go back home. Right. But yeah, I went to Sweden by myself. That was the first time. And then I went to England. And I've been like all over Europe. I haven't done South America. I've done Africa, not all of Africa. I did Morocco and Africa. So there's still like a lot to see. I did Beijing, I did Japan, lots of good stuff.
Flights. How do you do the flights? I can't sit still for that long. It's so hard. I did Japan and that was torture for me. The 13 hours, I was done.
So for me, interestingly enough, I will get panic attacks on short flights sometimes. Not all the time. It's totally random. I haven't figured it out yet. But like I can panic attack from like Montreal to Toronto, which is an hour flight, not even. And I'm like, why am I having a panic attack for an hour flight? And then I can get on a 13-hour flight to Japan and be totally cool.
Wow.
Totally fine. What I do, I have a secret. So here's my travel hacking. I don't pay for first class. I get to the airport and I ask very nicely if there are any upgrades. And sometimes there's an upgrade, sometimes there's not. And so if the upgrade is something like $150, then I take it.
Mm.
If the upgrade is $800, then I say no. But that's it. I kind of wait to the last minute. So that's how I've gotten in the first class once in a while. So you can lie down and you technically can sleep, but I tend not to sleep, unfortunately. So the first time when I went to China, before I went to Japan, I stayed up the whole night watching movies. And then I was totally jet lagged, right? Of course.
Right.
So I'm like, that wasn't smart. So I was on the plane watching movies. So I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like getting over jet lag, I find you have to keep eating. That's my secret. Keep eating. Keep drinking water. If you're not able to sleep, eat and feel your body. And then when you can, like go to sleep at a reasonable hour and then sleep as long as you can and then get up and eat. That's my thing. And then you're okay. Yeah, then you're okay.
I struggle with jet lag a lot, but I can't sleep on a plane either. I can even take sleeping pills and I still will not sleep on a plane.
Oh no, okay.
And I look around with hatred at everyone who, like, the minute they sit down in the chair, you're not even taking off.
No, I've seen people,
yet. The lights are still on. They have the neck pillow, they're passed out right away. I hate those people. So if you're one of those people, don't sit near me because I'll wake you up. It's really irritating when you can't sleep on the plane. And so, but that's a new thing for me. I had to learn all of these things late in life. But I have so much anxiety about traveling that I didn't know that it wasn't my anxiety about traveling. It was my family's anxiety about traveling, and traveling with them created so much anxiety for me that I thought I hated travel. But the first time that I flew by myself, which was to Japan, was like a crazy thing, and yet it was the most calm flight I've ever had because nobody was with me and I was alone with my anxiety and I was like managing. And so I like traveling alone better.
Yeah, well, you see, if I take a flight with my husband, we don't sit together anymore.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Which is, I know everybody's like, well, is everything okay in your marriage?
Yeah, this is why we're still together.
You know, because we'll be at the gate together and they're like, oh, do you want to sit together? And we're like, no, no, we don't.
Right.
We have a much better time if we just don't.
I mean, it's tough. It's all
it confuses people, but yeah.
It is. It's a lot of anxiety. But okay, I'm gonna stop. I know you have better questions than me.
Well, whenever I'm on a flight and there's even the littlest bit of turbulence, I start to, like, in my mind, I flash back to all those horrible movies about planes crashing. So I was just wondering, how often do you travel, and does that help to kind of deal with those things?
The turbulence? Well, so the turbulence, you just have to think of it's a bumpy bus ride.
I can't.
That's all it is. That's all. But it's just, you know, like I'm in Montreal, right? We have a lot of potholes. The shocks on my car are totally wrecked. So it's a bumpy ride, like my car. Anyway. So turbulence is really just that. As like, you know, it's air pockets, but those are potholes of the sky. And to me, it's the safest time. And even pilots will say this is the safest time because the pilots are not on autopilot when there's turbulence. The pilots are there and they're doing their thing. So trust that they're doing their thing. Put it in your head that you're in a bumpy bus because that's what it is. It's a bus in the sky, right? An airplane is a giant bus in the sky. Like, so, and now you're going through a bumpy, rocky road for a little bit and then you'll be okay.
I'm going to try and remember all of this stuff if I have to travel again. I really am, because I'm sure it works. But right now, I'm just thinking about how grateful I am for COVID. But I feel like you must be sad for COVID because you don't get to travel.
I am. So that was a mess. Like in March, when I was supposed to go to Switzerland, Germany, and then I was supposed to go across Canada. I was supposed to be in Winnipeg and Calgary.
Gone. Yep.
Everything gone. And that's my business, right? Like that was me going to talk in different places. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to promote my business?
Yeah. And
now all these trips I was looking forward to are gone. Because a little secret is that, you know, when I started this is my second business. So I had a bit of an idea of what I needed built into my business plan in terms of my financials and the kind of money I want to make. Is the fact that I need to travel every 2 to 3 months. I need to get away. And so either I go to a hotel room by myself, even if it's in the same city, or I'm traveling with my work. But it was part of my plan. This is how, this is like my life, my business is I need to travel on a regular basis for my own health and sanity. And so COVID has been very interesting because it's like, well, all that has been built in, knowing that this is what I need, like it's a core value of mine, and now it's all gone. And here I still am. And I'm not as restless, I think, as I thought I would be without it. I think that the fact that COVID has caused me to have to slow down in many other ways. I'm not working in the same way I was before. My kids are home all the time now because I'm homeschooling them, and I'm not sending my little guy to daycare. So all of those kind of, I guess, the productivity or the pressure that I had before, or those expectations I had before, has made me create a life now where I don't feel that I have to get away as much.
Yeah.
Am I still sad? Yes. Like, you know, do I want to, I still dream of seeing the world and being able to travel again. My last, and I was hoping maybe we could talk about this as my special interest as well. Cruises have become a new thing for me, and I had never cruised before, and there's actually an interesting story about why I went on a cruise in the first place. But anyway, I was supposed to have a birthday cruise in November. That got canceled. So then I was like, what am I supposed to do for my 40th? So I rebooked a new cruise for next year, and I'm going with my sister. So now I'm able to info dump all my cruise info on her because she hasn't been on a cruise before. So this is, yes, it's part of the fun.
It's funny you bring that up because I used to think, like, why would anyone ever want to go on a cruise? And my partner as a child went on been on 15 different cruises. So she convinced me to go on a cruise, and now we've been on a couple, and it was great, other than maybe like the crowds and things like that. I really enjoyed being on the cruise. So what do you like about the cruises, and what do you wish could be changed?
Well, I think going forward, I think they're only going to be sailing at 60% capacity. So the crowd issue is going to be even lower. I'm lucky in the sense that my first cruise, I took a very small ship. It was the Carnival Victory. So I think it was max 3,000 or 3,500 people or something like that. And I never felt crowded. I never really felt that anything was overcrowded in any way, luckily. But I'll share the story of why I went on a cruise. So I've suffered from OCD for a large part of my life, and I didn't really think I was suffering that much, but I ended up taking part in a study at a local university here. They were doing a study on OCD, and they were like, we'll give you $400 and free therapy. And I was like, whoa, dude, this is fantastic. Why not? I'm like, yes, it's going to be horrific because it's horribly intense, therapy, but I'm like, it's free, and they're giving me $400. So I took part, and my one of my big fear, my obsessive thoughts were surrounding getting sick, especially vomiting. So getting seasick, that was a legitimate terrifying fear of mine, or seeing other people get seasick. Anyway, so when I finished therapy, I was like, you know what, I feel great. I feel like I've been like cured almost. So I'm like, I'm going to kind of prove it to myself. I'm going on this cruise, and I'll go alone. So that way I won't, bother my family if I'm having a miserable time. Right. I'm going to test it out, test the waters, so to speak. So I booked this cruise, and I went by myself, and it was a success. Nobody got sick. I didn't get sick. And then I kind of got hooked onto the whole idea, because it's a really cost-effective way to see a lot of countries. So it was cool.
And there's a daily schedule if you like those things.
I didn't get to do half the stuff that's available, but I mean, it's wild. There's and the fantastic thing too, even me alone, I didn't feel awkward. I didn't feel like anybody was staring at me or anything. Like, there's enough people that it's not like you're sticking out. So I enjoyed the fact that if I wanted to go eat with people, I could go eat with people, and if I wanted to be alone, I could be alone, and nobody cares, So I thought that was great.
That's awesome. I've only done one cruise. I'm not a cruise person, you guys. I'm sorry. We did it for Antonio and I went on our honeymoon because one of my like long-term, since I was like 16, goals was Alaska. It's where I
Oh,
wanted to go to
nice.
college. It's where I wanted to live. It was like, it's everything to me. And so for our honeymoon, I was like, let's not spend on our wedding anything and let's just go on an awesome honeymoon. And so we did. We went on a crazy, awesome honeymoon cruise. We left from Seattle and we went up all the way along the side to Alaska and saw Alaska. And the glaciers were amazing and everything that I got to see and do was amazing, but I definitely think I'm going to fly the next time. It was just not for us at all.
Okay.
But it was great people watching. That was the one thing that
Mm-hmm.
was the most fun for me, which is so sad because we did a lot of really fun things, but I had so much fun watching people be weird. It was so fun. So fun. Okay.
So Kelly, on your social media, I see you do some cooking. Is that one of your passions?
I find that baking and cooking is healing. I like canning a lot. I guess that could be almost a special interest. Because for me, when everything's boiling and bubbling on my stove and simmering, I feel like I'm a witch with my cauldron, making magic. It's like, I have all my canning here. I'll show my canning. I've got pickles and I've got apple butter and I've got, hold on, there's more. Oh, there's peach jam. So anyway, I've got lots of stuff. For me, like, I just find that having, being able to open like a piece of summer basically in the middle of dead winter here in Montreal, which is awful, right? So having that little piece of summer with me and something that I've made with my own hands, there's nothing like it. And I've been canning more, especially now since the pandemic, because I don't want to run out to the stores all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it just tastes better when you do it yourself. You know what's in it. It just tastes better. So
talent. You have so much talent. Very courageous lady. I'm feeling currently lazy, and that's how I'm feeling because I don't even know how to cook. Antonio cooks. My dyspraxia is so bad in the kitchen. It's terrible. All right. Next up, what else can we learn about you, Kelly? What else do you like to spend your time doing?
People ask me that all the time. I don't know. I love driving. I love
Ooh.
cars and I love driving. So I have a manual car.
Ooh, that's a special talent now. It didn't used to be, but it is now.
I think it's something ridiculous. Like only 7% of North Americans know how to drive manual now, which is both kind of sad and good at the same time, because nobody could steal my car. So,
right.
or very few people can steal my car. But I don't know. I love it. I love the control. Like, I love the sense of control. Because you are in complete control of your car and what it's doing at all times. I guess that makes me sound like a control freak, but only towards cars.
Like control all the time. That's all we want is a little bit of sanity, a little bit of feeling like we have something to do with the planet that we're living on.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a very it feels like a very primal connection to your car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does, for sure. There's a lot of, I think there's a sense of independence and soloship when you finally get to drive your own car and you listen to your own music and you're just in your own zone, in that bubble for the first time, going wherever you want to go. I love that feeling.
There's that, and I think the sensory aspect, because especially with manual, like, you hear it. If you're doing it wrong, you hear it. You'll smell it if you burn your clutch, right? So, like, it's all your senses being involved. And you feel it, like you feel the engine through your feet. And I like to drive barefoot too, in the summer, obviously not in the winter. But it's a whole body experience for me.
It is. It's funny. I never think about it with driving, but that's why I like to go four-wheel drive. So we do a lot of four-wheel up here in the mountains, and I love it because it keeps you so in the moment. Like, you have no choice but to be right where you are doing what you're doing, because you have to be focused every minute of everything. Just about where you're turning the car next, what speed you're going, what's around the next bend, whatever it is. And I love that feeling of just being able to think about one thing for a change is really nice.
Yeah.
Is it almost a form of mindfulness?
Almost, yeah, for me it is.
Yeah.
I really believe in movement mindfulness, especially for those of us on the spectrum. A lot of people think mindfulness and they think stillness all the time. They think
Right.
you have to be still and thinking about your mindfulness. But I find I do my best mindfulness work when I'm actually walking and moving. So if I go for a walk in nature, I find that I get much more out of it. And so I talk a lot about moving meditation, which happens too, for those of us on the spectrum. And I think it's part of that. It's like it's because we can't block out white noise, because we have so much sensory interference, having an experience of just one thought or one thing happening is a relief. It's like a vacation for a little bit. And
Yeah.
so it's really nice.
So Kelly, are you out there going 100, 120 or are your drives?
I don't kiss and tell. What if my insurance company is listening?
All right. Well, I say we give Kelly a chance to plug herself and her work and everything she's doing before we go on to the questions.
All right.
So tell everybody, please, where they can find you, what you're up to, where they can see you, all of that great stuff.
All right. I always say I don't hide on the internet. I'm easily searchable and findable, and approachable. Except when I get really weird messages in Messenger. Don't do that.
No, don't direct message anybody.
Don't do that.
Just
Anyways, so I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn for sure. So my company is Completely Inclusive. That is a social enterprise consultancy where I am teaching businesses how to be accessible and inclusive. I just wrote a book. I just published a book last month called How to Parent Like an Autistic. And that's available on Amazon in 14 countries as an ebook or print. And it's on Kobo. And I'm hoping to get it up on Apple Books at some point. No promises, but some point. Anyway, it's in the plans. Yeah, I feel like I've done a lot. So that can be found at parentlikeanautistic.com. And I've started, it's kind of in a low, like pre-stage startup. It's called the Autistic Entrepreneur Network, where I'm trying to kind of create a mentorship program and maybe a micro lending kind of seed program for entrepreneurs, for autistic entrepreneurs, to support and encourage entrepreneurship skills in the autism community. So we'll see what happens.
Excellent. I love that. We need that.
So at the end of each episode, we do something called Inside the Autistic Studio. It's just a number of questions, 11, to get to know our guests a little bit better. So question number 1 is, what are your pronouns?
Oh, I use she and they. I consider myself non-binary. If you ask me, I'll say woman just because I'm female presenting, but I consider myself androgen, non-binary.
And what is your preferred stim?
Chewing gum.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your favorite curse word?
Oh, in what language? I swear in multiple languages.
Go French, because I can't speak French.
In French? Probably calice de tabernac.
So much worse in French. It's so good.
Calice. All the swears in French, or at least in Quebec French. I can't speak for French. I mean, in Quebec French, they're all related to the church and religion. So calice is the chalice. You're yelling about the chalice. And tabernac is the tabernacle. So you're saying chalice of the tabernacle. Doesn't make sense. But anyways.
And who do you love and what are you doing about it?
I love a lot of people. I have my little family. I always call it my little family, but yeah, my husband and my 2 kids. And actually my husband and I celebrated 20 years yesterday. It was the day we met. So we didn't really celebrate though, but we marked the day. How about that?
Acknowledged it.
Yeah, we acknowledged it. We said, hey, it's been 20 years.
You may be neurotypical
If if you don't know what neurotypical means, or if you don't know what ableism means, I've heard that where people didn't even know that the word existed. Yeah, just totally, I think if you're out of touch with what's happening in the disability community.
You may be autistic
If, how do I sum that up? I only have to be like one sentence?
Oh.
I don't know, if you've got this really dry sense of humor that not everybody gets, but we seem to get it.
Yeah.
I'm hearing myself in an echo right now.
Yeah.
Okay, is that okay? What
Yeah.
happened? All right. I guess it's see patterns and things, or just see things in a different way. How about that?
What's something you want to learn to do or be better at?
I've always wanted to just try blowing into a pair, into bagpipes.
Oh.
Not like, I don't want to learn to play the bagpipes. I just want to blow into someone's bagpipes and like just see what it's like.
Right, to feel it.
Yeah.
Cool.
What autistic media accounts social media accounts should people be paying attention to?
Anything that's run by actual autistic people, that's super important. I really enjoy the posts from the Thinking Person's Guide to Autism. I enjoy the Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network. To me, they have a lot of posts that just resonate with me and put out a lot of good information into the world. That's not, it's not all doom and gloom. And when they do have research, it's relevant research that would make sense for us. Yeah, those are, I think, some of the major ones.
What's one thing in your routine you possibly couldn't live without?
Like in my daily routine, I don't sleep properly without an eye mask. I like pitch black. And I need lip balm all the time.
All right. Yay. All right. Is that all 11 of them?
Dog, cat, or must I choose?
Sorry, dog, cat, or blue suede shoes? What?
Dog, cat, or must I choose?
Oh, must I choose? Oh, so I discovered I'm allergic to cats. I found that out in my adulthood. So I would probably pick dog just because of the allergies, but I would love to have like a hypoallergenic cat, or a hairless cat.
Mm.
Yeah. And the last question, what does autistic joy mean to you?
Oh, that's beautiful. Like, and you see it, like when you can see it, like when somebody is like truly in their moment. Like my eldest son is autistic, and for him, he just, it exudes, this joy. Sometimes it used to be when he heard accordion music, it would make him like, he would start flapping and his whole body just like resonates. I don't know how to explain it. It's beautiful. When you see it, I think when you see it, you know it. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And I think we need to see more of it in the world.
I agree. I totally agree. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. It was such a pleasure to get to know you and know more about you than just your advocacy. So thanks for coming and joining us from Canada here on Zoom, where we all do everything. Doug, we did it. This is episode 2. We're going to keep going, right? I'm excited.
Not stopping.
We're not stopping. We have guests for you guys through December, and we're already booked for months ahead. I'm very excited. We'll be doing 2 episodes a month as of October. because you guys wanted it, and we can't stop finding the guests. There are so many people to talk to. So bring us your joy. If you're interested in being a guest too, feel free to get in touch with either one of us. I want to share your joy with you and share it with everybody else too, and get in on the things that make you happy and charge you up. So I hope you guys enjoyed episode 2. We'll keep at it. So keep a lookout for the next one too. Thanks so much, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Great to talk with you.
Thanks.
Bye.